Books are long rooted in America's history. As our country has transformed, books have accompanied the many shifts in society.
Books in America began with America's beginning following the American Revolution, and then experienced a great change by advances in technology following major subsequent wars. And now books are enduring the technology revolution that we are currently living through.
Prior to the American Revolution, the printing press was the first instrument that transformed literature. In America, the first printing press was established in 1638 in Cambridge, Massachusetts, at Harvard College.
Escalation of production and literacy in the colonies began during the mid-18th century and was marked by the sale of Poor Richard's Almanac by Ben Franklin in 1733, continuing through 1758. The almanac contained things like a calendar, the weather, varied predictions, poems, and famous sayings such as, "One today is worth two tomorrows."
At the time when Franklin's Almanac was published, Franklin viewed Titan Leeds' American Almanac as his biggest competition. In order to ensure the success of his almanac, Franklin decided to pull a prank on Leeds in the preface of his 1733 edition. As one of his predictions, he reported that Titan Leeds would die on October 17, 1733.
Leeds took offense to this, and Franklin responded by turning this into an ongoing joke by predicting his death each year. This went on until Leeds actually did pass away in 1738.
Post-Revolution book trade in America finally did not have to import a great deal of books and presses from England. The 19th century was the dawn of inexpensive printing, bringing along with it mass reprints and series in many books. In 1814, the Journal of Lewis and Clark was published as History of the Expedition under the command of Captains Lewis and Clark. Following the Civil War, textbooks began to be published, including ones explaining the war and reasons for it.
The history textbook written in the North was A Young Folks' History of the United States, written by an abolitionist and social reformer. The Confederacy vice president wrote his version of the Civil War, with many clashing viewpoints with the book written in the North. In response to both sides, publishers minimized the discussion of slavery. It is evident that even today, nearly 125 years later, we face the same problem in schools. Parts of history are omitted, conveniently aligning with the beliefs of the author or publisher.
Post-World War I, America faced a booming economy, which brought along with it a wealthy middle class, giving an audience to authors like Sinclair Lewis and Ernest Hemingway.
As more books were being written, more books began to be censored, which brings us to banned books that have shaped America today.
One of the most challenged books of all time is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. It was banned for its derogatory language and was considered to be racially insensitive and said to perpetuate racism.
In 1965, the autobiography of Malcolm X was banned because it was seen as a manual for crime and decreed. It was banned for its anti-white statements. Malcolm X is now seen as one of the most influential Americans in recent history.
Each year we see more and more books being banned, but that has not affected the book trade.
Initially, ebooks rattled the book trade, but their effects have fizzled out. After jumping when initially released, ebooks have seen a slow in sales, nearly to a point where they are leveling off.
And that brings us to the future. In the past few years, readership has remained steady for both hard copy books and ebooks. This trend will continue until we enter another age of great change.
We don't see books transforming much in the near future, especially in terms of the ebook.
Books have radically changed since the first printing press in America came about in the 17th century. Books have become more popular in the wake of massive technological changes, such as increase in production when the presses became more efficient.
Freedom of the press has imposed on books the censorship laws. Changes in books have reflected massive shifts in culture and society, enduring all changes thrown its way.